Today we have a special treat for you. It's also a special treat for me too. See, I'm a portable battery power kind of guy. I have batteries everywhere from 100 watts up to 2,000 watts. I have a lot of things that I power up on the go, as well as at home if there's a power outage or whatnot. I just love portable, silent, clean battery power. I had done a recent review on my Bluetti 2,000 watt battery, and I had done a couple little reviews and talked about in other videos littler batteries that I used for like 350 watt or 500 watt batteries. Then I got an email from OKMO asking if I'd like to review and check out one of their 1,000 watt batteries. Well, to me, that was music to my ears because that's actually a spot that I don't have a battery pack in. I have a 350, I even have a 100, I have a 500, I have a 2,000. I don't have anything in that like 750, 1,000 range. So when they offered to send me one to check it out, put it through its paces, and let you all know what I thought of it, I was like, yeah, where do I sign up? I had a few questions of them. Could I be critical of the battery? Could I put it through its paces and show real-world use? Did they have any problem with that? And they were totally in agreement with me putting it through my paces, using it, and letting you guys know what I think. When I got the battery, it was September of 2021, and we were pretty much done with our camping here in Michigan. It was starting to get pretty cold. I put it through the paces here in the house on things that I would normally use while camping or if the power went out here at home. So I'm going to share those with you, and at the end I'm going to go through the manual because I'm kind of a manual kind of guy and give you my conclusion, what I think of it. So in the box you're going to get the G1000 1,000 watt battery, of course. You're going to get an AC power brick with its cord, and I always label my stuff. I don't know about you guys, I'm just kind of weird I guess, but I like to put labels on everything so I know what it is. This says OKMO 1000 on it. Super simple when it's in the drawer. And a DC jack for the car. So as you're driving, you can charge while you drive. And again, it says OKMO 1000 on it. Imagine that. Don't worry, we'll go over the manual at the end of this video. I'll show you page by page and read some of the specifications. But basically, you have a 1,000 watt battery and an inverter built into it that'll handle up to 1,000 watts. That's a lot of things. And if you're careful and you go to like Walmart or something like that, you can find coffee makers, even small microwaves, possibly even toaster ovens, all kinds of appliances that you could run. Just watch your ratings on it. And another trick that I've learned is I use a kilowatt meter. I plug a kilowatt meter into this and then I plug things into it so I can see what the amp draw is as well as how many watts it's using in general. Using it for these batteries, you can really get a good idea of how many watts things use too. You'll see some of that in the real world testing that we're going to do in just a few minutes. The first test we'll run with this OKMO 1000 watt unit is to run a CPAP. Now I have my kilowatt meter here, and when I put everything on and turn the AC on here, which I'll do just now, we're going to get readings for our watts and our amperage from my CPAP, which is a ResMed AirSense 10. I do use the humidifier on level 1, and I do have the heated tube set at 76 degrees. I sleep about 6 to 8 hours a night. So in the morning, we're going to go back up to the battery, see what's left on the meter, as well as what the amp draw and what the wattage draw is from the CPAP. Typically, I'm seeing 40 to 50 on the watts, and the amp draw is about half an amp, 0.5. In their instructions, they talk about a CPAP being able to run for 17 hours. So I'm guessing this is going to take about 2 bars off of that 5 bar, maybe 40% or so. It is the morning and CPAP is still running and we're hitting 35 to 40 watts. Amperage is running at 0.3 and I've seen it as high as 0.5. So in general, we're 35 to 40 watts. On the battery meter, we used one of the 5, which would be about 20%. And let's see where we were on the CPAP itself. 5.5 hours, used about 20% of the battery, for one night's use of the CPAP at 5.5 hours. We'll keep testing. And now I have the Alpicool on here, the C20 model. I love that little fridge, by the way. And I'm using the kilowatt meter to just show you the average watts and amps. Right now it's running approximately in the 30 range. It's going to cycle, of course, being a fridge. It'll go up a little, it'll go down a little bit. Let's see what's the amperage is 0.5 and the watts are about 32 at the moment. We're going to let this run overnight. We have run tests with a night full of CPAP as well as 16 hours worth of refrigerator, and we still have 2 bars left on this 1,000-watt OKMO battery. Now what I've done is I've plugged everything in through one big hub thing here to show Stacy's laptop, which was at 18%, which is a MacBook Air, and mine, which is a 16-inch MacBook Pro, and it was at 30%, and just one of our old phones, and it's at 22% just on a lightning cord. But I put them all through a hub so that we could go on the kilowatt meter and see as a group it's pulling 74 watts. I'm going to let these all fully charge up to 100%, and we'll see where the battery's at. It's drawing about 72, 73. I know that this MacBook Air pulls a lot, like 60. I know this pulls very little, like 8 to 10 watts. I don't know what the phone's pulling. I think this is an old iPhone 6, but probably not much more than about 3, 4, or 5 volts at the, watts at the most. But anyway, so we're getting a draw of 72. Let's see what the amp draw is, just for fun. 0.7. We will see when all these charge up, how long it took, how much battery we have left. We still have 2 bars, so about 40%. Well, it's been about an hour, hour and a half here, and both the MacBook Pro 16-inch and the MacBook Air, I think that's a 13-inch, are both fully charged, as well as the iPhone. That went all the way up to 100% as well. It didn't seem to make any change on the battery level. I still have 2 of the bars. It's still drawing just a few watts because it's probably just keeping things topped off on the phone, or one of the laptops is drawing a little bit. Charged 2 laptops and a phone, didn't make any difference on the meter yet. We'll have to pull some other things to continue this test because I want to kill this fully. We still have 2 of the 5 bars, so approximately somewhere between 20 to 40% left of this OKMO 1000-watt battery. And what we're doing till failure is I'm going to run a fan on medium, a 40-watt little light, which you actually could get something that was a lot more efficient like LED. But in this purpose, we're just trying to kill this battery. We want to see how long it's going to last. And lastly, a Hot Logic Mini, which I cook a lot of meals in. I love these little things. It's almost like a little hot plate in there, and you put a frozen meal in it or a little pre-containered meal. Anyway, Hot Logics are awesome. Go check out my video on those if you hadn't seen it. And what we're going to do is we are going to start a timer. Let's see. Start. And I'm going to keep checking in on this, and eventually we will kill that battery, and I'll be able to tell you how much time it took to run that fan, that light, and that Hot Logic all at once. Now the draw from all 3 of those combined is about 85 to 90 watts. Let's see what the amp draw is. About 0.8 amp draw, and in that 80 range of watts. So we're going to see how long it takes to kill the last 2 bars. Hopefully I'll catch it on camera or very close to it. I'll check in every 15-20 minutes and listen for that fan and look for that light to turn off. And I'm hoping, at least by the end of this, we'll have some more information as to how much more you can get out of this battery for camping or power outages and whatnot. So yeah, stick around and we'll be back when we know when it dies. We have exhausted the battery by using a small fan on medium, a 40-watt light bulb, and a Hot Logic Mini, which is just a little portable hot plate type of cooking device. We ended up on our meter here, we were running about 80 to 90 watts for all three of these as a combined draw. And we had 2 bars left, about 40% of the battery. And we ended up at just over 3.5 hours. For the final part of our review on this battery, what we're going to do is plug it in and we're going to see how long it takes with a timer here to fully recharge the battery. Now, we've exhausted this battery, so right now it is nothing. There is nothing left of it. We're going to plug this in and let it start charging, and we're going to start our timer. I'll be checking back and watching for when this is fully charged. The power brick itself, I did see somebody saying that it got really, really hot. So what we're going to do is with a thermometer here, we're going to check it every once in a while. Let's see. Starting out right around room temperature, about 75 degrees. We are at the 7 hour and 41 minute mark on charging this battery. And I've just unplugged it, and we are at 4 out of 5. So we're going to continue to charge. Plugged it back in. It should pick back up. And we're going to check our temperature again. Let's see. We're about 147. Pretty consistent. It's warm to the touch, but I wouldn't say it's hot. So the battery, the OKMO 1000, is fully charged now. Took us 10 hours, 40 minutes on the AC power. Now, when it's charging, this light is red. We were getting an average of about 140 to 147 on the heat for the power adapter. It was warm to the touch, and I could certainly hold it and touch it just like a laptop adapter. It didn't seem overly hot. I know that someone was saying that they were getting 200 plus degrees, and I think either they had a bad power brick, maybe they were using a thin extension cord that was overheating things, or maybe something in the battery was making it overheat. But for us, not a bad deal. And right now, it's been off for about 3 or 4 minutes. It's in the 90 range. But never really saw it get any higher than like 145, 147. And I was checking this thing throughout, pretty much every hour or two. It didn't overheat, charged up the battery fine. So in conclusion, what do I think of the OKMO G1000 battery? Well, I like it overall. It did a great job powering up all the things that I tested with it. I do wish that the meter had a percentage. Instead of 5 bars to show you how much power you have left in your battery, I want to see 81%, 48%. I want to know what the actual number is. I'd also like to see it charge a little faster. On the 110 input, it took 10.5 hours to charge this battery from dead to full. Now, to be fair, in the instruction book, it says 10 hours on the AC charger, 9 hours on the DC charger in the car, or 6 hours by using 2 100-watt solar panels. The battery capacity is 1110 watt-hours. The rated power is 1,000 watt output on the inverter and a peak of 2,000 watts. It's a lithium-ion based battery, weighs about 30 pounds. We also have a Type C output, which puts up to 60 watts max out. That charged my MacBook Pro with no problems. The DC jack output is 12 volts at 8 amps max. The output of this is a pure sine wave, which means you can use sensitive electronics with it, like a laptop, a phone, or a CPAP. The general maintenance on this battery is to keep it away from harsh sunlight, water, dust, and dirt. And to maintain a healthy battery, they recommend you charge your G1000 at least once every 2 months to keep it topped up. I like all the features of it. The weight is decent. The handles are nice and easy to use and pick up and move. I've had it for about 8 months, and it's done everything I've asked it to do and more. So you may be seeing this in the van in the future because I'll be using it on camping trips and if the power goes out of here at home. I use a CPAP at night, so if we lose power, I'm going to plug a battery in. Well, thanks for hanging out with me today, and I hope by watching this video you learned a little bit about this battery. Check out the description of this video for more links and information on the product below. Thanks and have a great day.